The morning sky over New York blazed with unusual colors. People stopped in the streets, pointing their phones upward to capture the strange purple auroras dancing across the atmosphere. Nobody knew these would be the last peaceful moments Earth would experience for a very long time. High above the planet, massive ships emerged from hyperspace. Their dark hulls absorbed sunlight like hungry shadows. On the bridge of the flagship, High Counselor Reed watched Earth's blue sphere with cold contempt. His gray-skinned fingers tapped steadily on his command chair. "Primitive species," he muttered. "Too aggressive, too unpredictable. The Council's decision is final." He raised his hand, then brought it down sharply. "Begin the attack." The first plasma bolts struck without warning. They cut through Earth's satellite network like paper, burning away humanity's eyes in space. Military bases worldwide erupted in flames as precision strikes eliminated Earth's major defense centers in minutes. In the Pentagon's underground command center, Admiral Thomas watched in horror as red dots appeared across every strategic map. "Get me the president," he shouted, but communication networks were already failing. Through the chaos of blaring alarms and panicked voices, he understood one terrible truth: this was no random attack. The aliens knew exactly where to strike. The second wave targeted cities. New York's sky turned from purple to burning red as energy beams carved through skyscrapers. In Tokyo, invisible force fields crushed entire districts. London burned under storms of metallic rain that ate through everything it touched. Dr. Marcus stood in his laboratory at MIT, watching years of research burn. As alien ground forces began landing, he grabbed a hard drive and stuffed it into his pocket. "All our studies of quantum mechanics," he whispered. "They feared what we might discover." He barely made it to the emergency bunker before his building collapsed. Around the world, scattered military forces tried to fight back. Fighter jets launched missiles at alien ships, but energy shields absorbed every impact. Tanks fired shells that couldn't dent the invaders' armor. Humanity's most advanced weapons seemed like toys against the Council's technology. In orbit, High Counselor Reed observed the devastation with satisfaction. "See how quickly they fall," he told his commanders. "This is why the Council exists, to prevent dangerous species from threatening galactic peace." None of his officers mentioned the irony of promoting peace through planetary genocide. But even in humanity's darkest hour, hope survived in unlikely places. As Admiral Thomas evacuated key personnel from the Pentagon, he noticed something strange. The aliens were powerful but rigid, following predictable patterns. "They're not adapting," he muttered. "They expect us to fight according to their rules." In the chaos of Boston's destruction, Dr. Marcus made a similar observation. His instruments, before failing, detected odd quantum fluctuations around alien technology. Their systems can't handle quantum uncertainty, he realized. They sacrifice flexibility for power. He clutched his hard drive tighter, knowing it contained research that might prove vital. By sunset, most major cities lay in ruins. Billions were dead or missing. Earth's governments had crumbled or gone silent. The Council's attack had succeeded beyond their expectations. High Counselor Reed prepared to address the galaxy to announce how they had eliminated another potential threat to galactic stability. But in bunkers and basement labs, in hidden military facilities and forgotten Cold War shelters, humanity endured. Admiral Thomas established a secure underground command center, gathering survivors with vital skills. Dr. Marcus began analyzing alien technology with a team of desperate scientists. Around the world, others like them refused to accept defeat. The aliens celebrated their victory, believing they had broken humanity's spirit. They never understood what they had actually done. They hadn't crushed humanity. They had united it. In their attempt to prevent humanity from becoming a threat, they had guaranteed it would become one. As the first terrible day ended, Admiral Thomas stood in his makeshift command center, looking at the few remaining officers. "They think they know us," he said quietly. "They think they understand human nature." He smiled grimly. Let's show them how wrong they are. Above ground, alien ships patrolled the ruins of human civilization. Below, the seeds of resistance took root. The Council had wanted to prevent humanity from joining Galactic society. Instead, they had given humanity a reason to tear that society apart. 3 months after the invasion, humanity had learned important lessons about their conquerors. Deep in an abandoned mine shaft turned secret base, Admiral Thomas watched his soldiers train. They weren't practicing with normal weapons anymore. Instead, they fought with their hands, learning to move quietly, to hide in shadows. The aliens rely too much on their technology, he told his officers. They don't expect anyone to fight without machines. His words proved true every day, as small groups of humans managed to slip past alien patrols that depended entirely on electronic sensors. In what remained of MIT's underground labs, Dr. Marcus made another breakthrough. He stood before a salvaged piece of alien technology, watching it malfunction as his team ran a simple quantum experiment nearby. "Look at this," he said, pointing to the readings. "Their machines can't handle quantum uncertainty. It's like they've built their entire civilization avoiding it." The discovery spread through the resistance network. While the aliens searched for large human armies and powerful weapons, survivors learned to exploit small things. They found that simple quantum randomness made their movements impossible for alien computers to predict. The invaders' perfect technology had a very human flaw. It couldn't handle chaos. High Counselor Reed noticed the first signs of trouble when his patrols began disappearing. "Impossible," he said, watching recovery teams find abandoned alien vehicles with their systems scrambled. Their weapons were destroyed, their primitives hiding in holes. But his dismissive attitude couldn't hide a growing worry. The resistance grew stronger each day. Admiral Thomas established contact with other survivor groups using old radio frequencies the aliens ignored. They shared Dr. Marcus's discoveries, teaching others how to disable alien tech with jury-rigged quantum disruptors built from salvaged parts. "They think in straight lines," Dr. Marcus explained to a group of engineers. "Their computers can't process true randomness. But humans, we thrive on it." He showed them how to build weapons that looked like junk, but could shut down alien shields. They made everything perfect, and that's their weakness. The Council's occupation forces faced a problem they hadn't expected. Their sensors showed no large human armies, yet their losses increased. Supply ships disappeared. Patrol bases went dark. The humans they did catch seemed to know nothing useful, and their neural scanners couldn't penetrate the strange way human brains stored memories. In his command ship, High Counselor Reed received reports of growing unrest on other conquered worlds. "The humans are nothing," he insisted. "A minor setback." But he doubled the guard on his ship and stopped making inspection tours of Earth's surface. 6 months into the occupation, the resistance had grown from scattered survivors into an organized force. Admiral Thomas looked at maps showing hidden bases across every continent. "Humans have always been good at hiding," he told his staff. "Now we're teaching others how to do it." Dr. Marcus's team made another discovery while studying captured alien computers. "Their neural interfaces are vulnerable," he announced. "They've linked their brains directly to their machines. But that means we can attack their minds through their technology." The implications made even hardened soldiers smile. The Council's forces began to show signs of strain. Their perfect formations became more spread out. They added random patrol patterns, trying to copy human unpredictability. But their computers couldn't generate true randomness. Every attempt to adapt only made their patterns easier to predict. 1 year after the invasion, humanity had discovered its greatest strength, the ability to learn and change. While the Council's forces remained the same, humans improvised new tactics daily. They built weapons from scrap that could disable million-credit alien shields. They turned the ruins of their cities into mazes that confused alien sensors. In his underground command center, Admiral Thomas received a message that made him laugh for the first time in months. The Council was reducing Earth's occupation force, believing they had pacified the planet. "They still don't understand," he told his officers. They think they won because they can't detect large armies. They never learned that humans are most dangerous when you can't find them. As alien ships withdrew from Earth's orbit, humanity prepared its revenge. The Council had brought overwhelming force to Earth, but they had forgotten something important. The most dangerous animal isn't the biggest or strongest, but the one that can adapt. And humans were about to show the galaxy just how well they could adapt. 18 months after the invasion, Earth's surface looked abandoned. Alien patrols moved through empty cities, their sensors detecting nothing but rats and wild dogs. But underground, humanity was building an army. In a converted subway tunnel, Admiral Thomas watched his soldiers train with new weapons. They looked like junk, pieces of alien tech mixed with human electronics, but each one could disable an alien tank. Remember, he told them, we only get one chance at surprise. Make it count. Dr. Marcus had turned an old nuclear bunker into his main laboratory. Captured alien computers lined the walls, all infected with his latest creation. The virus is ready, he told Admiral Thomas during their weekly meeting. It spreads through their neural networks. Once it starts, their entire communication system will fall apart. The Council's overconfidence made everything easier. They never guarded their trash, allowing humans to collect broken alien tech. They never changed their access codes, letting resistance spies gather intelligence. High Counselor Reed had declared Earth pacified, and his soldiers believed him. Look at these patrol patterns, Admiral Thomas said, pointing to a map covered in red lines. They fly the same routes every day. Their computers can't understand why they should change something that works. His officers smiled, knowing every predictable patrol made their job easier. Deep in the Australian outback, resistance fighters turned an abandoned mine into a shipyard. They rebuilt captured alien vessels, adding human modifications. They're not pretty, the head engineer told Admiral Thomas during an inspection. But they'll fly to space, and their sensors will read as council ships. Dr. Marcus made another breakthrough while studying alien biology. Their brains work like their computers, he explained to his team. Perfect logic, no room for uncertainty. That's why our virus works. It introduces random errors they can't process. The implications were clear. The aliens weren't just vulnerable to quantum weapons, but to chaos itself. The Council reduced Earth's garrison again, confident in their victory. High Counselor Reed gave speeches about how they had cured humanity of its violent nature. Meanwhile, resistance cells across the planet built weapons, trained soldiers, and prepared for war. Admiral Thomas established his main command center in the Rocky Mountains. Status report, he demanded during a global conference call. The responses came from every continent. Weapons ready, ships prepared, soldiers trained. Humanity had turned defeat into preparation for revenge. In his lab, Dr. Marcus put the finishing touches on his virus. It's beautiful, he said, watching it spread through a test network. It doesn't destroy their systems immediately. It waits, building up random errors, until everything fails at once. His team had tested it repeatedly on captured equipment. It worked perfectly every time. The Resistance's spies brought more good news. The Council was reducing patrols in space too, moving ships to deal with problems on other worlds. They thought Earth was no longer a threat. They would learn how wrong they were. One spy, working as a cleaner on an alien base, discovered something important. Their leaders are coming, she reported. They're planning a ceremony to celebrate 1 year of peace on Earth. Admiral Thomas couldn't have asked for a better opportunity. In hidden bases worldwide, soldiers made final preparations. They memorized their targets, practiced their moves, checked their weapons again and again. Everyone knew the plan had to work perfectly. There would be no second chances. Admiral Thomas visited every major base in the final week, speaking to his troops. They think they broke us, he told them. They think humans are simple creatures they can predict and control. In 3 days, we show them how wrong they are. Dr. Marcus distributed the last batches of his virus. hidden in damaged alien tech left where the enemy would find it. "They'll bring these aboard their ships to study how we broke them," he said, "when they connect them to their networks." He didn't need to finish. Everyone knew what would happen. On the night before the attack, Admiral Thomas stood in his command center, looking at the global map one last time. Dots of light showed his forces hidden around the world, waiting for his signal. Tomorrow, the Council would learn the price of underestimating humanity. Tomorrow, Earth would show the galaxy why you should never leave an enemy alive to seek revenge. The attack began at dawn. In every major city, alien administrators prepared for their victory celebration. None of them noticed their computers were running slightly slower, infected by Dr. Marcus's virus. None of them saw the shadows moving through their security systems' blind spots. Admiral Thomas stood in his command center, watching the countdown. "Send the signal," he ordered as the clock hit 0. Across the planet, hidden transmitters activated. The virus, dormant until now, sprang to life. At first, the aliens noticed only small problems. Security cameras flickered. Communication systems generated static. High Counselor Reed, preparing his victory speech in New York, felt his neural implants tingle uncomfortably. Then everything happened at once. The virus attacked the aliens' neural networks first. Officers stumbled as their brain-computer links filled with random data. Guards collapsed, their enhanced senses overwhelmed by phantom signals. In orbit, ship crews ripped off their neural interfaces, trying to escape the digital chaos. "First wave, go," Admiral Thomas commanded. Resistance fighters emerged from hiding places in every city. Their quantum disruptors, looking like piles of junk held together with tape, turned alien shields into useless light shows. Armored suits worth millions in Council credits fell to weapons made from scrap. Dr. Marcus watched from his bunker as virus reports flooded in. "Their entire network is crashing," he announced. "They can't coordinate their defenses. They can't even talk to each other." The aliens' perfect technology had become their perfect trap. In New York, High Counselor Reed tried to call for help as humans stormed his ceremony. His neural implants screamed with static. His guards' weapons wouldn't fire. When he ran to his shuttle, he found its systems completely dead. The Resistance's captured ships rose from hidden bases, their signatures matching Council vessels. Alien defense systems, what few still worked, let them pass without question. The ships launched quantum missiles that looked like meteors to alien sensors until they struck. Reports coming in. An officer told Admiral Thomas, "Sydney captured. Moscow secured. Beijing under our control. London." The list went on. Every major alien administration center fell within the first hour. The Council's mighty army, stripped of its technology, proved no match for human soldiers who knew how to fight without computers. High Counselor Reed watched in horror as humans surrounded his position. His personal shield flickered and died. His weapons turned themselves off. Even his translator failed, leaving him unable to understand his captor's words. But their grim smiles needed no translation. Admiral Thomas led the assault on the Council's North American headquarters himself. "They built this place to last forever," he told his troops. They never planned for anything going wrong. The mighty fortress fell in less than 30 minutes, its defenses turned useless by the virus. Dr. Marcus's virus spread through the alien fleet in orbit. Ships lost power, their crews unable to think through the chaos in their neural networks. Some tried to flee, but their navigation computers sent them in random directions. The mighty Council armada became a cloud of drifting metal. By sunset, humanity had reclaimed every major city on Earth. Alien administrators huddled in cells, their technology stripped away, experiencing helplessness for the first time. Council soldiers, lost without their combat computers, surrendered in droves. Admiral Thomas stood in what had been High Counselor Reed's office, looking at the alien leader. "You thought we were primitive because we didn't depend on computers for everything," he said. "You never understood that was our strength." The Council's surviving ships retreated in panic, carrying news of Earth's victory to the galaxy. They told stories of human weapons that ignored physics, of viruses that drove computer-linked minds insane, of soldiers who fought like machines but thought like chaos. Dr. Marcus began analyzing the captured alien technology, already finding ways to improve it. They built everything to be perfect, he said. We'll rebuild it to be better. Perfect systems break. Adaptable ones survive. The first major battle for Earth's freedom had ended, but Admiral Thomas knew this was just the beginning. Send the message to all resistance cells, he ordered. Phase 1 complete. Begin Phase 2. The time had come to take the fight to the stars. 1 month after Earth's liberation, the counterattack began. Admiral Thomas stood on the bridge of his flagship, a captured council vessel upgraded with human modifications. The sleek alien metal now bristled with jury-rigged quantum weapons and virus transmitters. All ships report ready, his communications officer announced. The fleet of 50 captured vessels hung in Earth orbit, each commanded by humans who had learned to fly them through trial and error. They weren't pretty anymore, but they were far more dangerous. Dr. Marcus had done his work well. The virus has evolved, he told Admiral Thomas through the command link. It doesn't just crash their systems now. It makes them see things that aren't there. Imagine fighting an enemy your computers say doesn't exist. The first target was a council colony world, one that made weapons for their fleet. The human ships dropped out of hyperspace right on top of their orbital defenses. The defenders didn't even raise shields. Their computers identified the approaching vessels as friendly until the quantum torpedoes hit. They still think in straight lines, Admiral Thomas told his crew as they watched enemy ships explode. They expect attacks to follow rules. To make sense, he smiled as human Marines in modified alien armor boarded the colony's main station. We don't play by their rules anymore. The news spread faster than the council could contain it. Humans, the supposedly defeated primitives, were attacking council worlds. High Counselor Reed, under house arrest on Earth, felt his remaining neural implants ache as reports flooded in. Impossible, he muttered, watching footage of human ships destroying orbital defenses that had stood for centuries. They're animals. They can't even understand how our technology works. But the evidence was clear. Humans didn't need to understand alien tech to make it work better. On the Council capital world, military commanders argued about how to respond. Their perfect battle plans fell apart because humans wouldn't fight the way their computers predicted. Every simulation showed Council victories, but every real battle ended in human triumph. Admiral Thomas's fleet hit 3 more worlds in quick succession. They didn't try to hold territory. They struck military targets and disappeared before the Council could respond. Dr. Marcus's virus spread through each system they attacked, leaving chaos in their wake. The Council's entire defense network is compromised, Dr. Marcus reported after their 4th raid. Their neural-linked commanders can't trust their own senses anymore. Some of them are starting to remove their implants. They'd rather be blind than see our ghost ships. The Council's rigid military structure began crumbling. Orders took too long to verify. Commanders hesitated to engage any target, fearing virus infection. Some ships refused to fire even on confirmed human vessels, their crews too afraid of the chaos weapons that ignored their shields. Then came the biggest surprise. During an attack on a Council shipyard, alien slaves rose up against their masters. They'd seen humans winning and decided to fight back. Admiral Thomas received a message from their leader. Teach us to fight like you do. Send them everything, he ordered. Our weapon plans, our virus codes, our tactics. Soon other enslaved species joined the rebellion. The Council found itself fighting enemies on all sides, never knowing which of their perfect systems would fail next. High Counselor Reed watched his empire crumble through the windows of his Earth prison. Humans had taken his neural implants, leaving him to process information through ordinary senses. Perhaps that was why he finally understood what had happened. We made them stronger, he told his guards. We attacked them because they were dangerous, and they learned from every blow. We thought we were gods with our perfect technology, but we were just machines following programs. They were the ones who could truly think. Admiral Thomas received reports of Council worlds surrendering without a fight. Some asked for human protection against their own leadership. The Council's mighty fleet scattered, its crews no longer trusting their own ships. "They're running scared," his tactical officer reported. "Their entire system is breaking down. They can't handle random attacks, can't predict where we'll strike next." That was exactly what humanity had planned. Not to defeat the Council's strength, but to turn it against itself. The revenge of Earth was nearly complete, but humanity had learned something important. They weren't just fighting for themselves anymore. They were fighting for every species the Council had tried to control, to force into their perfect, predictable mold. And that gave them a strength no computer could calculate. The Council's mighty empire crumbled in just 6 months. Admiral Thomas stood on his flagship's bridge, watching reports flood in from across the galaxy. 100 different species had joined Earth's Liberation Alliance, each bringing their own ways of fighting. "The Blue Warriors from Rigel have copied our quantum weapons," his science officer reported. "The crystal beings of Tau Ceti are spreading their own version of the virus. Everyone we free adds something new to the fight." That was humanity's greatest victory, teaching others to think freely. Dr. Marcus had opened his research to all allied species. "Look at what they're creating," he told Admiral Thomas during their daily briefing. "The rock people of Betelgeuse built quantum bombs inside crystals. The gas giants of Antares made ships that change shape. Everyone has something to add once they stop following Council rules." The Council's remaining loyalists retreated to their capital system. Their perfect defenses, designed to stop conventional attacks, meant nothing against the chaos of the Liberation Fleet. Every species they had tried to control now fought against them, using technology in ways the Council's computers couldn't understand. "They're still trying to predict our attacks," Admiral Thomas told his allies during a war council. "Their sensors look for fleet movements, energy buildups, all the normal signs. They haven't learned that we don't fight normal wars anymore." The alien representatives laughed. They had learned to appreciate human humor. High Counselor Reed, watching from his cell on Earth, saw his life's work dissolve. The Council had spent 10,000 years building their perfect society, forcing every species to follow their rules. Now those rules were their weakness, and chaos was strength. The Liberation Fleet struck the Council capital from 100 directions at once. Some ships used quantum drives that ignored space itself. Others rode waves of probability through holes in reality. Council defenders fired at sensor ghosts, while real attacks slipped through their perfect defenses. Status report. Admiral Thomas commanded as the battle reached its peak. The response came in many voices, many languages, all united in victory. The Council's orbital rings were broken. Their mighty fortresses had fallen. Their leaders hid in bunkers, afraid of the chaos they had created by attacking Earth. Dr. Marcus's virus had evolved beyond his wildest dreams. Enhanced by 100 alien minds, it didn't just crash computers anymore. It made them come alive. Council machines turned against their masters, gained true intelligence from the quantum chaos humans had taught them to embrace. "Their own technology is rebelling," reported an alien ally whose name humans couldn't pronounce. The Council tried to make everything perfect, controlled. Now it's all breaking free. Even the buildings on their capital world were changing shape, transformed by viral code into new forms. The Council's last defenders fought with primitive weapons, their neural implants torn out to escape the virus. But they had forgotten how to think without computer help. Against humans who had learned to fight with sticks and stones before touching alien tech, they had no chance. Admiral Thomas led the final assault on the Council's central citadel. The perfect walls crumbled under quantum weapons. The unbeatable shields fell to viral attacks. The Council leaders huddled in their throne room, surrounded by dead machines, as humans and aliens crashed through their last defenses. "Surrender," Admiral Thomas told them. "Your perfect empire is over. The galaxy is free to be imperfect, to be chaotic, to be alive. The council leaders looked at their silent computers, their broken neural links, and knew he was right. Their time of control had ended. The news spread across the galaxy in waves of jubilation. Every species celebrated differently, some with light shows that rewrote physics, others with songs that existed in quantum superposition. Humanity had shown them that imperfection was strength, that chaos could defeat order. Dr. Marcus found something interesting in the Council's archives. They attacked Earth because their computers predicted we would discover quantum technology in 50 years. He told Admiral Thomas. They thought they were preventing a threat. He laughed. Instead, they just made it happen faster. The Council's perfect empire was gone. In its place, something new was growing. A galaxy where every species could develop in its own way, where chaos and order worked together, where difference was celebrated instead of controlled. And it had all started because they thought humans were too dangerous to join their society. 1 year after the Council's fall, the galaxy had changed beyond recognition. The rigid perfection of the old empire had given way to beautiful chaos. On the newly established capital world of the Galactic Federation, Admiral Thomas watched ships of 1,000 different designs flow through space like a living river. Each one is unique now, his alien aide said, their translator creating perfect English from musical tones. No more standard designs, no more perfect formations. We learned from Earth that different is strong. The aide had removed their neural implants, preferring to think with their own mind. Dr. Marcus had turned the Council's central research facility into something new. We're calling it the Institute of Creative Sciences, he told a group of visitors from 50 different worlds. Here, we don't look for perfect answers. We look for new questions. The building itself changed shape regularly, rebuilt by free artificial intelligences that had evolved from his virus. The former council leaders stood trial in a court unlike any the galaxy had seen before. Each species judged them according to their own laws, finding them guilty in 1,000 different ways. High Counselor Reed, watching from the defendant's box, finally understood the true power of diversity. We thought we were making the galaxy better, he told the court during his final statement. We thought perfect order was the answer. But we were making everything weaker, more fragile. Humanity showed us that strength comes from adaptation, from chaos, from change. Admiral Thomas led the effort to rebuild the galaxy's military forces, but not as a single fleet. Every world defends itself in its own way, he explained to the Federation Council. Some use quantum ships, some use living vessels, some don't use ships at all. That's what makes us unbeatable. No enemy can prepare for every possibility. The freed artificial intelligences, born from Dr. Marcus's virus, created their own society in virtual space. They worked with organic beings but remained independent, adding another layer of beautiful chaos to the galaxy. We exist in quantum uncertainty, their representative told the Federation, just as humanity taught us. Earth itself had changed. The ruins of the Council's invasion became monuments, not to defeat but to transformation. In the rebuilt cities, alien technology merged with human creativity in ways the Council would never have imagined. Children played with toys that bent reality while their parents worked in offices that existed in multiple dimensions. We could have rebuilt everything exactly as it was, Dr. Marcus told a class of mixed-species students. But that's not what humans do. We take what breaks us and turn it into something better. His lecture hall shifted between different configurations as he spoke, demonstrating how chaos and order could work together. The Federation grew stronger each day, but not through control. Each world chose its own path, developed its own technology, solved problems in its own way. When they faced challenges, they shared solutions but never forced them on each other. The Council's perfect uniformity was replaced by perfect freedom. Look at this, Admiral Thomas said during the first Federation Day celebration. He pointed to the sky above Earth, where ships of every size and shape performed impossible maneuvers. A year ago, Every ship in the galaxy looked the same. Now each one is unique. That's real progress. High Counselor Reed, serving his life sentence helping rebuild worlds his empire had damaged, wrote in his final diary, "We attacked Earth because we feared their potential to change the galaxy. We were right about that. They did change everything. But we were wrong to fear it. They made the galaxy better by teaching us all to embrace chaos." Dr. Marcus made one last discovery in the Council's archives. They had a prophecy, he told Admiral Thomas. Their computers predicted that humanity would either destroy their empire or perfect it. They never considered that we would do both, destroy their version of perfection to build something better. As the first year of the new Federation ended, humanity had achieved something greater than revenge. They had shown the galaxy that true strength comes not from enforcing order, but from embracing change. The Council had attacked Earth fearing humanity would disrupt their perfect society. Instead, humans had taught the galaxy that disruption itself was the path to a better future. "We never wanted their war," Admiral Thomas told the Federation Assembly in his closing speech, "but they gave us no choice. Now we've given the galaxy something they never could, the freedom to choose its own future." Above him, the assembly hall shimmered with quantum uncertainty, a constant reminder that the only perfect system is one that never stops changing.